co-oped live stream show. We're early today. We're gonna do for the until people come on and the notification is going out, so I should wait for a while. But we'll do earlier in the winter, like 5 o'clock instead of 7 to 8, 5 to 6. So you know we're more in tune with the weather. It's dark outside already, right? So here in Ontario, winter weather. So welcome to the show if you're joining us, or if you're going to join us later. Well, you won't hear me saying this if you're going to join us later, would you? But let's check, make sure everything is okay. Guys, if you can send me a quick message, let me know the sound and everything is good. And we're ready to roll. Today we're going to continue from yesterday. Yesterday's show we had a bit of an interruption because I don't know if the internet went down or there was some glitch with the software or something, but somehow the show stopped. This talk show literally stopped recording or streaming actually. And so when I watched it back after, then I realized that was happening. I didn't know because I'm in the studio, right? But anyway, hopefully it's good and we are ready to go. Mano, if you are hearing me, on my end everything looks good. So yeah, we'll start in a minute, guys. Let me just make sure everything is okay. We're still fine-tuning the system. We're going to continue today from where we left off. In fact, a lot of this information I gave yesterday, the video for yesterday, I think it ran for more than half an hour for sure, but we're going to leave it on YouTube and Facebook and all those places. But today we're going to repeat a lot of that information that we said yesterday, because it's important information. This stuff to do with Elon Musk and his Neuralink, which is it's really an exciting technology. It's quite futuristic and it's astonishing when you think of it, what these guys are putting out in terms of futuristic technology. But merging the human biology with electronic supercomputer or even a microprocessor. But really the Neuralink is more than it's a full-fledged CPU. The computer processing unit, and so they're merging that. Now computing is not going to be outside of us with a Neuralink for those who take it on, because it's a voluntary thing for now it's voluntary. You can take it once they roll it out, but eventually the computer is not going to be external to human beings, it's going to be internal to human beings. So what Neuralink is basically setting out to do is the Internet of Things. For things, you're going to embed computer processing units and chips and sensors within things, desks and chairs and clothing and building material for walls, and so walls can be smart walls or floors or ceiling. Surfaces on the whole will be hooked up to smart technology, so sensors and microchips and even processing units to make physical space would no longer be. And when I say would no longer, this is what we want to talk on the show about, which is continuing from yesterday, that technology is moving us into a place very, very rapidly, very, very fast. I mean, this is why we're doing the show too, because within 2 to 5 years, we're going to see a magnificent, but also fundamentally different world that we live in today. A world that is where physical space literally merges with virtual space. Digital and physical, there will be no dividing line anymore. So Internet of Things is going to make that happen for things, right? And for our physical environment. Every single thing is going to be hooked up through the cloud to the internet by sensors and Wi-Fi and satellite internet and all those things. So that's one thing that is going on. What Elon Musk is doing, this is what we want to talk about today. What Elon Musk is doing with something called Neuralink or Neuralink, which means neura is the brain and link means the brain is being linked to the internet. So what they're doing with Internet of Things, they're doing with people in terms of taking Neuralink, this CPU, the computer that is like a coin, embedded in the brain, and we have the computer inside of us. We're hooked up to the global internet through satellite and through Wi-Fi from inside of us. The computer is no longer going to be outside of us, external to us, but internal to us, built into our very skeleton, merging with our skull, our brain. And this is what Neuralink is. And if this sounds fantastic to you, don't take my word for it. Please, please, please do research. Go on online, check out Neuralink, check out Elon Musk giving speeches and demonstrations of this thing. And he even hinted that he has Neuralink in his brain already. So I'm sure a few human beings have them, although they were doing experiments on pigs and monkeys and I guess rats and all that before. But this year, 2022, they're starting to make this thing available for human use, for human beings. They're saying disabled people, like, and people suffering from Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease and all that would benefit from it, which is fine. It's a medical breakthrough. However, imagine a brain hooked up to the internet, and you can who Uber taxi, or you can order food at a restaurant, or just by thinking something you can make it happen because your brain waves are connected to the global internet. And this is astonishing. So that's what we're going to talk today on the show about. Let me just make sure if I got a text from anybody saying, yeah, I don't see anybody responding to us. So the streaming is going, I think it is. Let me check and make sure. Facebook. Bear with me, I'm just making sure the streaming is going on, because yesterday we had some bit of a technical issue. I think it related to the internet or bandwidth. Maybe there was a problem with it, but it could have been software too. So let me just make sure that it's going out. Okay? We're good to go. Oh yeah, it's running. It's good. Yeah, we're good. Sorry, because I put out a word, but maybe man was busy, so he didn't get a chance to respond to my message online here to let me know the stream is going well. This is the Qualped Live Talk Show. We are focused on authors of the future, on thought leaders and people who want to live the designed life or hungry to live the designed life. And we've developed a system called the Qualped Life System or Lifestyle System, whereby we teach, equip, and offer technologies and tips and teachings and all those things for the designed life. If you want to author your future, we believe that the future is what you make it. The future is not something that happens to us. We make the future what we want it to be, as we see with what is going on in big technology, right? And big pharma too, because with COVID, look at the big pharmacy companies. They're all rolling out all kinds of COVID medication and becoming multi-billion-dollar companies because they saw the future coming and they're prepared for it and they are benefiting from it. But we ordinary people on the earth, we don't do that, right? We mosey along and we say, oh, when the future comes, we'll deal with it. Tomorrow is whatever it is. It's just happening. We have no control over it. But that's not true. And so we want to make a difference in this show to let people know, to prepare ourselves and prepare the people who come on board with us for a future that we design, that we create. Given, of course, certain things that we can't change, like gravity, for example, or, well, even gravity now, we can't change gravity because we are now moving into the metaverse. We're moving into a place of digital space, which is unlimited in terms of physical laws, right? We're moving into a different set of physical laws, which are virtual laws, internet laws, the laws governing the programming language that creates the global web. And we are functioning in there even now, but we are being embedded more and more into a world that is more virtual than physical. And so that's what the show is focused on. And we are starting early today, of course, because we were going late, like since we started the show, 3 months ago, I guess. We've been doing from either 6 to 7 or 7 to 8. That doesn't work. Well, it works in the summer, but not in the winter. So in the winter, we go back to our early time, which is 5 to 6, which is now. And so I hope I have some viewers, and even if you see this video after the live stream is over, the live show, and you're watching the recorded version, welcome. And I hope you enjoy it. Check out our previous videos. We have like 80 maybe videos on YouTube, 70 something, 80 videos, and also on our Facebook pages. Wallpaper, Millionaire Mindset, which is our magazine that we publish online, Future Stars Media, which is this operation, and the Life Design Facebook page as well. So the videos are everywhere online, and of course our website, futurestarsmedia.com, futurestarsmediaenterprise, I think.com is our website with all the videos there as well. So we took a break from last week, Friday. We took a break Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday this week we started the show again yesterday. But yesterday we had some, I think it's the Wi-Fi, but I'm not sure. A little bit of a glitch. We were half an hour and the show was cut off when it's supposed to be an hour. But today hopefully we can go an hour, and we can talk about what we were talking about yesterday. We'll just repeat some of the things we said yesterday in yesterday's video. So if you see this video and you watch yesterday's half an hour, you would basically see some of the things repeated. But we repeat a lot of stuff because we want it to be embedded in the minds of people, that this world that we live in is not it's not as it appears. For one, it's not as it appears. We don't look at the world as we see it, because a lot of stuff is behind the scenes. And right now, the world is going through a fundamental reshaping what the World Economic Forum and the thought leaders behind a program called the Great Reset. The world is going through a great reset, and this great reset is happening in the foundation, which is the hidden part of the system that is below the ground, right? Below visibility. So you don't see the foundation, but believe it or not, the system, the foundation of the system of this global world order is going through some fundamental shifting, remaking, resetting. And also the inner working of the system, the inside of the system, which is under capitalism, not because capitalism is bad, but because human nature is corrupt. Human nature is bad itself. Some people believe man is by nature good. Not us. We don't believe man by nature is good. Man by nature is bad. If you leave a child to just grow wild, the child would grow wild. Human nature is wild. It needs taming, it needs training, it needs honing, it needs discipline, it needs ethics and moral. All these things are things we teach to people, right? So human nature is by nature not necessarily a good thing. We got to train it. It's very wild. It's like a wild horse, and you got to train and tame it to live a good, decent, civilized life. And so part of what we do here is that too, right? We want to enhance human civilization. But what I want to talk about today is that we have focused a lot, especially late last year and late December, but also early January. We focused a lot on the future in terms of the future that is coming, the immediate future that is upon us, which is within the next 2 to 5 years. Within the next 2 to 5 years, we would see such fundamental shifts in human society, because right now, as I speak to you, the inner working of the system, the global world system, and the foundation of the system are being reset. It's like you press a button and everything is being reset. So there's deep work going on behind the scenes. We in the public don't know that. We ordinary folks, we commoners as they call us, we don't know that, right? The voters, the plebiscite, the workers, the employees, the rabble, the crowd, the people don't know what's going on behind the system, because behind the system, you know, there's a curtain, and elites operate there, right? The thought leaders of the world, the ones who make the world system what it is. In other words, the ones who author our future, who author the future of mankind. So there are people who author the future of mankind. If you don't believe me, there is a book published about 50 years ago, actually 60 years ago or more, called, the book is called Tragedy and Hope by Dr. Carl Quigley. And this book is enormous. It's like 1,200 pages or something. But it talks about the people who shaped the modern world that we live in, right? The banking system, the oil industry, and all those things. A lot of the conspiracy theories that people like Alex Jones and the Trump crowd peddle about the place came out of this book. The information, the research came out of this book. This guy, Dr. Carl Quigley, who was actually a professor of Bill Clinton's at, I think, Yale University, he wrote the book. He authored the book years ago, and it was banned. It was banned for several years in the US and different places, Canada and Europe. But now it's available, but not easily available. You got to search for it. It's on Amazon. If you can get hold of it, read it. Well, it's a deep read, but we do that. We do the deep reading, we do the deep research, and we bring the information to you if you embrace us in our qualped life. This is what the talk show is called, the qualped life. The qualped life, qualped means quality of life, personal designer. So if you want to design the quality of life that you have, this is the place for you. Join with us, go take our courses, become a member of the qualped club, buy our cryptocurrency, all those things, right? We have so many things. Check out the content on Millionaire Mindset Magazine and People Today, and check out our global headline site. Our conference that is coming up, we have seminars and workshops after COVID. We're going to resume those a lot of those. We have our e-commerce site with ebooks on it. I'm writing a lot of the stuff I talk about on the show. I'm writing into ebooks and fictionalizing the stories, but really it's about getting the message across, but through storytelling, right? So we look out for our ebooks and our Sims books, the future of book. We've developed that. We have a lot of stuff going on. And so the show is to network people who have the mindset of authoring our future, of authoring your future, right? You come on board with us, it's a cooperative thing. We work together and we author our future. We design the path that we want to go forward, given the what is so situation. What is so is some of the things we can't help, but we work around it, or we go over it. Obstacles, right? You overcome the obstacles and you aim to get to the summit of the mountain. Life is about scaling. We said this before in a couple of shows. Life is about scaling, not about survival. Don't just survive. Life is way too beautiful, it's way too precious, it's way too fleeting. Before you know it, the days are over and life is over for many humans, right? I mean, nobody on the face of the earth right now was alive in 1920, sorry. Nobody's older than, or 1915 or whatever. Nobody's old enough to have lived before then. So one generation passes, another generation is born and stuff, and we keep forgetting that the world is a dynamic place, that the earth is not something that is static. It keeps changing, it changes. So one age rolls into another age, one generation rolls into another generation. What we don't consider is that the generation that we live in now is moving at such a rapid rate that change is happening so fast. Like, you know, there is something called a Moore's Law, which is in technology, and Ray Kurzweil really honed in on the Moore's Law and made it like a scientific thing. But the Moore's Law said that change, or which the Moore's Law really talks about computer microprocessing power in computer, which is the chip that runs the computer, keeps doubling in capacity every 18 months. That's Moore's Law. Every 18 months, Intel would make a more powerful chip, double the power than the one before. And if you keep exponentially doubling the processing power of a computer, of computing on the whole, then think, you know, multiply 18 months by 10 or 20 years, and you can see the rapidity of the change that is going on in the world today. And that's what's going on. We are making physical space into, merging it into the internet. The computer is now becoming not external to us, but the computer is gradually coming, merging with the biology of man. And this is what we want to talk about today, which we were talking about yesterday, right? Let me see if there is any note on the show. Yes, let me see. Make sure everything is okay, because we want you to get this message. We don't want you to miss it. So no technical glitch. Okay, thank you, Mano. Appreciate that. So we are on track. So let me talk about this today, which we've talked about yesterday. Elon Musk is bringing out Neuralink. Now, if you never heard about Neuralink, here is it. There is a survey online that was done by a reputable organization, some media organization, that said 68% of people in the world today, adults, have never heard of NFT, metaverse, cryptocurrency, and the new future we're rolling into. Now, 68 out of 100 people have not heard about these things. And I spoke to, between you and me, I spoke to senior politicians who never heard about those things. And it's shocking. People who are running society don't take those things seriously. Journalists, media people, they don't take those things seriously. But if you go online, you would see Elon Musk and Snoop Dogg and all the influencers in the world, the rich people, Richard Branson, everybody, they're all jumping into the space of metaverse, NFT, and cryptocurrency. And so this new future is opening up. And we are here on the show, we want to sound this message. We want to sound out this, it's not a warning, but it's a preparation call that within 2 to 5 years, we're going to see a radically different world. We're going to see a world where we don't have smartphones anymore. We're going to see a world where we don't have people driving cars anymore. Cars are going to be self-driving, and gasoline cars won't exist, gas stations won't exist. We now, it might sound crazy, but so rapid is the change because of this thing called Moore's Law, which is doubling computing capacity every 18 months, that the people who are building the technologies they can't keep up with the change that is possible. So Elon Musk developed this thing, which is what we were talking about yesterday before we were so rudely interrupted by our bandwidth going down or some technical issues. We'll continue that right now. He's developed something called Neuralink, which is a computer. It's a CPU, it's a computer processing unit. But the size of it, get this, the size of it is like and this is his word, the size of it is a coin, like a 25 cents. That's the whole computer. In it is a hard drive, is processing microchips, it's memory, it's everything. And it's Wi-Fi. So it's hooked up to the cloud, the internet. So they take this little device, which they call a Neuralink, and they put a hole in our skull, whoever agrees to take this thing, and they embed this computer. This computer is now going to be embedded in the very skeleton of man. So in our very exoskeleton. So they're going to put a hole in the skull, they're going to take out a piece of the skull, and where that hole is, they're going to fit this just as the dimensions of the Neuralink or this processing computer. They're going to drill a hole to that dimension and fit the coin into that hole, merge it into the skull. It eventually grows into the skull because cells will grow over it, and it becomes merged with the human body. And so computing is moving with the Neuralink from external to us to internal to us, inside of us. And what happens with this Neuralink, the way it's made, it's a computer, but it's very tiny, it's like a coin, and it has microscopic wires attached to it, very, very tiny wires. You can hardly see them with the naked eye. And these wires are, they merge with your nervous system. Eventually, cells grow over them and stuff and merge them into the nervous system of the brain. And so every thought that you have, which is electrical waves, remember how the brain works, is electrical waves which jump across synapses, right? And the neurons, which are electrical waves, this micro computer with these sensitive sensors on these microscopic wires would pick up the electrical waves going on in our brain, which is our thinking. How we think, it's all electrical waves, right? And it converts the electrical waves into radio waves and transmit them through the internet by Wi-Fi from our brain into the global internet. So if we think, call an Uber, that message goes out in terms of electrical waves, which is converted into the internet language. That is a command to an Uber, and the Uber shows up at your door. If it's a self-driving car, you go in, it plays your music, it knows because it's hooked up to your profile, and it knows everything about you. And so it plays your music, it talks to you about things that you're interested in. Your car is talking to you. Your car is going to be like your personal friend, knows you extremely well because your profile would have been uploaded in the system of Uber, of your car. Now this is the future that is coming within 2 to 5 years. By 2030, that's the world we live in. Within 2 to 5 years is when the system will come into play. By 2030, that's the world we're all embedded in. So if you left the earth, you jump into Elon Musk or Branson or Bezos' rocket or NASA, and you go to Mars and spend a few years. By the time you come back here, you wouldn't recognize human society. Why? Because of a simple thing. We have the Internet of Things, where they're taking the microchip and computers and embedding computers. So the idea that is going on is very simple. We're moving technology from external to man to internal to man. And first of all, what is going on immediately before Neuralink becomes like a global mass thing, and it could eventually one day become mandatory like vaccines are now. So vaccines could be the system they're setting up and I'm not into conspiracy theories at all. I'm just doing a show and giving my thoughts based on what we think is coming in the future, because we're futurists and we study the future and we try to prepare for it. So it could be that the infrastructure that is being set up globally for mandatory vaccines to happen could be the same system that they use to make, including the laws and everything, to make mandatory Neuralink to be put in the brain, for example, right? That you have to have it to augment the human intellect. And we'll talk about that. That is an important idea, augmenting human intellect, which I think Elon Musk is following, which came from a guy called Doug Engelbart, who wrote a thesis back in 1962 entitled Augmenting Human Intellect, and it kick-started the whole computer revolution back in 1962. Computers didn't come into play till the late 70s or 80s, but really rolled out to the public in the 90s. So slow as change, it took decades. Now change is happening within 5 years. It's not taking 10, 20 years anymore. So we had a situation, for example, of Doug Engelbart writing his paper, Augmenting Human Intellect. It's titled Augmenting Human Intellect, in 1962. But we didn't see what he described come into play till 1992. So 30 years later. And then before Doug Engelbart wrote his paper in 1962, in 1945, a guy named his name was Vannevar Bush, wrote a paper called As We May Think. And his essay, and As We May Think, laid out the blueprint for the personal computer, which Bill Gates and Steve Jobs built, the Apple computer and the PC. And that didn't happen till the 80s, right? So it took from 1945 to 40 years for the personal computer to be built after the imagination of Vannevar Bush created this thing. Back in 1945, after World War II, he was involved, this Vannevar Bush guy was involved in making the hydrogen bomb that bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan. And he felt so bad that he was the lead guy on the team that developed the hydrogen bomb. He said, we made a bomb that could destroy humanity, and he felt bad, his conscience was bothering him, so he said, let's do something good. And he wrote this paper called As We May Think. Instead of being primates blowing up people with hydrogen bomb, let's think. Let's be thinking human beings. And that As We May Think, by 1962, 20 years later, around 20 years later, 18 years or so, Doug Engelbart converted into Augmenting Human Intellect and wrote about the computer, the mouse and the keyboard and all those things. And Bill Gates and Steve Jobs got hold of that paper and they built the thing in the 80s. And by the 90s, the whole world was using it. By the 2000s, you know what computers became. The point I'm getting at here is that out of the imagination of thought leaders, we are building the world that we have today. Right? The future is being authored. The future is being authored. Let me see if I get a message here from somebody. Okay, great. Thank you, Mano. I appreciate it. Mano is so invaluable to Qualpin, and Sharoz and all the guys who are with me in this journey. It's quite a journey. It's, as you see, it's a very exotic adventure, which I love. We live the Qualpin life, and it's beautiful. So computers became very, very popular, and spread around the world, and now everybody has a smartphone, everybody has a computer, right, a laptop or a desktop. Everything is computerized today in 2022. The thing that did not happen was that computers did not enhance human knowledge in terms of the average person on the street. I mean, look at pop culture. Look, you listen to the top 40 songs with Drake and all these people who are putting out songs and getting billions and billions of views. Pop culture has, and we see with movies, for example, and also stand-up comedy, right? Comedy is a huge thing today in the world, but none of it is intellectually based. None of it augments human intellect. In fact, it makes us more base. It makes us dumb. But there are people in the world, there are thought leaders, there are people writing the future, there are people authoring the future behind the scenes, and the world cuts them out, right? People like, they say, oh, people like Bill Gates want to reduce human population, and all these elites are doing such bad things to us. When they hear about the Great Reset and Prince Charles is involved in this thing and the World Economic Forum, they freak out and say, oh, these guys want to control us and blah, blah, blah. And then you have the Sustainable Development Goals, and people say, oh, the United Nations is so evil, they bring in the Sustainable Development Goals, which includes guaranteed basic income and free health care and all those things. And then you have of course, the clean climate, and a lot of people are against clean climate. They say, oh, we need just continue the world as it is, pouring pollution into the air, having 1 billion cars a day, people driving from home to work and work to home, pouring carbon monoxide into the air, and expect no effect on the environment. So that's the world we live in. But there are people behind the scenes looking at these things and saying, you know what, this doesn't work. Let's write a new future for humanity. And here's why. We are jumping on that bandwagon. We are becoming, and we are setting out to be our own authors of the future. We want to write, we created a technology for this. It's called the Sims book, Simple Multimedia Smart Book. So come on board with us. You will write your manuscript. You write your future. We are created as human beings and we're given some gift. Whether you believe in God or not, well, I believe God gave us the gift of language, the gift of storytelling, and the gift of media. We're mediated persons. We dealt with this on a show before, and we will deal with it again later. But we're mediated people. And so we mediate ourselves to the environment that we live in, the social environment, the world, the people around us, society, and all those things. But my point I'm getting at is that there are people who are writing the story of the world, and they're imagining what the world could be, and they're bringing it into being. So, Vannevar Bush wrote the paper, imagined it and wrote it in 1945, changed the world with one essay, and then Doug Engelbart did it again in 1962 when he raised the bar on that paper that Vannevar Bush back in 1945. By 1962, he had moved it from As We May Think to Augmenting Human Intellect. And by the 80s and 90s, the physical world of the internet was being built out by Gates and Jobs and all the internet people, including Elon Musk, who built PayPal and stuff. And today we have the world that we live in. Now here's what I'm getting at. We got to wrap up soon, but here's what I'm getting at. That phrase that Doug Engelbart came up with, augmenting human intellect, is what all the big technology people, that's what they're aiming to implement. Now, why am I saying all this? Why is all this important to you as an ordinary person? You might have your small business, you might be a worker, you might be a housewife, you might be just, saying, I just want to survive, I just want to exist. Well, for one, if that's all you want, don't listen to our show. You're not part of us. We are big thinkers. We want you to be a human being. You know what it is? What's possible in being a human being? You know what's possible in breathing this life, this breath of air that we breathe? The potential of the human being is humongous. Even in the Bible it says we are the greater creation of God, greater than angels. And so we have so much potential as human beings. And it's in how we see ourselves and in how we present ourselves to the world and in how we tell our stories, right? And so we're setting out to alter the future. We want people, thought leaders, we want thinkers, we want people who are hungry, who think they can achieve something great and magnificent. We don't believe in things like success and money and materialism. We believe in vision. We believe in values. We believe in those things that will make a difference for human beings. And that's what we set out to do. And that's why we're doing the show. And we do everything we do in the company. We do a lot of stuff in the company to bring about this idea that you can design the quality of life that you desire, and you can alter your future, and you can design the path forward that you think is best, just like the elites are doing in the world. Don't sit there complaining and say, oh, look what Bill Gates is doing, look what Elon Musk is doing, blah, blah, blah. Do it yourself, because you're just a human being, as much of a human being as they are. We look at external stuff to us. Oh, we don't have money, we don't have enough time. They have 24 hours a day, we have 24 hours a day. So saying we don't have time is flat out lie. It's not true. We have the time. We don't have the resources, we don't have the right people around us, we didn't come from the right family, we're the wrong color, we're the wrong religion, all kinds of excuses people come up with. There's no excuse. You're wanting a human being. Forget your color, forget your religion, forget your everything else. You're a human being, you have 24 hours a day, you breathe life, that's all you want. Nothing else matters. Write your future, alter the future that is possible. Join with us and we'll show you how to do that. And we'll walk with you on the way and we'll encourage you and we'll make sure that you do it. Because we're doing it too. Whatever it takes, this life that we live is the best life to choose. Why choose go out there and do small things? And spend your time doing that when you could take the same time, the same effort, the same energy, the same anxiety, the same despair, but more joy, more happiness, more peace, doing big things. So here's what's going on. I know I'm ranting and everything, but I'm really passionate about these things. Really, really passionate. I want to see the human being not only augment our intellect, but really hone in on who we are created to be. and be who we are created to be. 24th century world we live in. We who live in Canada and America and Europe and the developed world, even nowadays in India and China and Brazil and all the countries that are developing so well, small countries that are doing well. The world has eradicated gross poverty. The world has eradicated global wars and all those things. We have an environment right now that we can really make use of the opportunity and do something amazing with our lives. I'm passionate about this, and this is the quality life, and that's what we say to people. But I want to say, really want to wake us up. I want us to be conscious of the fact that tomorrow, within 2 to 5 years, we're going to have what is called an augmented reality world. And you're going to hear me use that phrase a lot. And I'm even writing an ebook on it. Well, a Sims book, which is talking about the augmented reality world, which is a merging. The augmented reality world is a merging of the physical world with the virtual world. So the internet and physical space, the internet space, which is a space in itself, a new dimension to human society, to the universe, to the world that we live in on the earth, that never before in human history has any human society, even the famed, fabled, mythological Atlantis, didn't have such a thing. We have it today in the 21st century. This virtual space where we can do anything. We can go, when the metaverse comes, people are going to be projecting themselves into the metaverse as perfect beings, well-dressed, well-spoken. You know, they're going to go out there with an image because we're mediated human beings. So we present an image through the metaverse and we wow the world. Now we do it through fashion, and we do it through social media, and we do it through telling our stories and good websites and all those things, videos and stuff. Look at what people are doing on TikTok. They get dressed, they put on a lot of makeup. Women do this a lot, and they go there and they dance and they do a whole bunch of stuff and pretend that the world is perfect. That's the world we're moving into. Within 2 to 5 years, we're going to live in a radically different world. And here is how radical that world is. They're taking technology and putting it inside a human being. They're taking computer, the greatest processing power in the computer, and merging it with our skeleton, embed it in our skull, and causing the electronic microscopic wires to merge with our biological neurons and exchange information. It's all about information. It exchanges information, broadcasts that information, what is going on in our brain, all those neurons flying about, all those electrical signals going about, jumping across synapses in our brain, would be recorded and transmitted through the neural link that Elon Musk is developing, has developed and deploying from this year, through the internet, through the cloud, and be able to command stuff, and be able to communicate, and send information and receive information. Healthcare is going to be different. The way we communicate with anything external to us will be different. Very different. We can't imagine what that world would be. We can't imagine it. Even Elon Musk can't imagine it. The team that is developing Neuralink cannot imagine what this thing would turn out to be. The user cases that are coming, the use cases, the kind of uses people would put these things to. Now, he might have good intentions. Who developed this thing to augment human intellect? That's what Elon Musk is aiming to do. To follow Doug Engelbart's thesis or advice or urging or whatever you want to call it, to augment human intellect. No, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. I really believe that we need to augment human intellect. The average human being is plain old dumb. And we gotta say it, right? You can't sugarcoat it. Human beings are not supposed to be dumber than robots, but we are. Robots are coming out, they're hooked up to AI, and they're so smart. Sophia the robot, and robots on the whole, Japan is now mass producing robots like Sophia. Sophia has a Facebook page, check her out if you haven't seen her. She's a humanoid. She's a robot who looks like a human being. And she talks to people and she has conversation and she makes jokes and she's emotional and all those things. And these robots that people are building, AI on the whole, they're smarter than human beings. This is a scandal. And so people like Elon Musk care about these things. And they go out there to augment human intellect. And of course Elon Musk is saying, we can have the Internet of Things. We can have virtual reality. We can have augmented reality where you put on the glasses and the screen appears in front of you. You don't need to buy TV, you don't need to buy computers, you don't need to buy smartphones because the screen is all projected from your glasses that you can wear. Apple is bringing out this year a fashion item which is AR glasses, augmented reality glasses, that will replace your smartphone. They will replace computers. They will replace TV. It's astonishing. Now they're making wall tiles, excuse me, and windows that are TV ready, screen ready. You don't even need that anymore. Even that technology is outdated, and it hasn't even been rolled out yet. So fast technology is going. This Moore's law that is doubling computer capacity every 18 months. Now, of course, Elon Musk is a small player, and even Bill Gates, in the grand scheme of the future, who's writing the future. The real guy behind the scenes is Ray Kurzweil, who came up with the idea of singularity. Now, if you Google singularity online, you would see a bunch of different definitions of what Ray Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis, who are the guys behind the singularity movement, what they think. You're going to see different people interpret it differently. What singularity is what Elon Musk is doing with Neuralink. He's merging electronic technology with our biology, with our neurons, our neuronal electrical impulses, which happen in the brain. With Neuralink, we're finding singularities happening. In other words, we're finding that the biological system and the electronic global internet are merging and becoming one. So people, I wrote this in my book, it's in my novel, Nightmares of Knowledge, which was published 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, people read it and said that's science fiction. And today we can say this on the show and talk about Neuralink and talk about singularity and talk about merging computing power with the human biology. And people say, oh, that's 50 years away, or 100 years away, or 1,000 years away. It's 2 years away. In fact, it's happening this year. This year it's happening. Neuralink is coming out this year. It's going to be in people. So my friends, the thing is, we can go about life, and life is going on as per usual. Churches are doing churches. People are going to work, and even with lockdowns because of COVID, the world is moseying along. It's continuing. And the average person doesn't have a clue what's going on. Doesn't have a clue what's going on. 68% of people have not heard of metaverse, NFT, cryptocurrency, or Neuralink. And even people who heard about Neuralink, I was just talking to my friend Charles, who was a shareholder with us too, and the urgency of these things don't hit home to people. Neuralink, nobody has a clue what it is. But Elon Musk is talking about it. He's rolling it out. He's promoting it. He's gathering a team of people, the best brains in the world, to make this thing as amazing as it could possibly be. Augmenting human intellect, that's what we're about. We're about moving the computer, moving technology from external to us to internal to us. And the call is very, very urgent. This is happening right now. Within 2 to 5 years, the world outside that is external to us is going to be internal to us. And it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. Marshall Mcluhan is the one who said that. He was a media theorist and a professor at the University of Toronto, and he wrote a whole ton of books and gave lectures and stuff about technology and society and humanity, right? Or human being. Very, very anthropological in his outlook, but he dealt a lot with literature and all those things. But he said an important thing, that technology extends the human being. So the car and the plane, for example, we talked about this before, extended our legs, because the reasoning is from him is that we were able to move faster. So every technology is an extension of the human being that allows us to do more than we could, right? Like with our fingers and our toes, we're so limited. So we augment who we are by extending ourselves into different types of technology. For example, transportation, which allows us to move faster. The smartphone actually extends a whole bunch of us, right? We can reach around the world. It extends our arms. We can reach around the world by the cell phone, by the smartphone. And the smartphone actually extends our soul, because our emotions, our minds are out there now. We extend all these things into this thing called a smartphone. Now, Elon Musk is moving this thing from external to us. So technology is no longer external to us. He's moving it into internal to us. We're taking everything in a total micro, not a microchip, greater than a microchip, a computer, CPU, a computer processing unit. It could be embedded in our brain. And Elon Musk has developed, they actually built at Neuralink a special robot running on AI to do the operation on every human. If you go in for a Neuralink, this robot, not a doctor, a robot is the one who inserts it into the skull, takes out a piece of the skull, embeds the Neuralink device there, and eventually it grows into the skull, and the wire is connected to our nervous system, and the robot does it all, and there's not even a scar. Because you can put it under the hair and the hair covers it over, and even that little scar that is that cut to put it in, it heals eventually. So nobody knows who's walking around with a Neuralink. You can have it and nobody knows, but you're a superhuman after that. You're an augmented intellect. You have the whole internet in your head. It's astonishing. Sounds like science fiction. It sounds like crazy. It sounds like I came out of a mental asylum and I'm saying these things. This is reality, my friend. This is reality. Within 2 to 5 years, this is the world we're living in. This is the kind of conversation we'll be having. We're ahead of our time because we are a futurist. We study the future and we're all about the quality of life. We don't live today. We live 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Since I'm a young person, that was always my headspace. We are not about today or tomorrow. We're about 10 years ahead. We have to be 10 years ahead to make our life what we want it to be. That's what this show is about. That's what our company is about. We're about creating the future that we want. Now, if Neuralink is coming out, I'm not making a judgment call, but whatever you think about Neuralink and this merging of the computer world, of the internet with the human biology, which is a kind of a humanoid kind of thing, it's going to change our DNA. It's going to give us a different genetic makeup because these things would affect our hormones. It would affect how the body functions. It would augment who we are. We would be smarter than AI, we will be smarter than robots, we will be smarter than machines. Because right now, the world we live in, robots are coming out smarter than us. AI is coming out smarter than us. I have writing AI to write books and stuff. These AI programs, artificial intelligence writers, they're going to replace writers because writers are not smart enough to deal with AI. The technology is still developing, but once AI gets to a certain place, when GPT-4 is released against by Elon Musk, who owns the company, GPT-3, GPT-2, GPT-3, GPT-4 is a software programming system that allows creative AI to emerge. So writing AI is all over the internet now. You can subscribe to these things and write a whole book in like a week with your AI and you writing together. You're the author, the AI is the writer. That's happening right now. I'm using it to develop ebooks and Sims books. We have a site with 170 ebooks on it, and we're going to be starting to put more on it because we can write very, very fast ebooks with AI. They're very, very smart programs, and so you can't have machine and AI and robot replacing human beings. So we got to smarten human beings, and this is the kind of thing that Elon Musk is doing, and Peter Diamandis and Ray Kurzweil. Google these names and see what's going on. Prepare for the world that is rushing towards us, that is going to be here before we know it. By 2030, trust me, humanity and the whole will be completely different than we are today. We are on the tail end of the industrial age, getting out of a way of being human that has existed for thousands of years. And we're moving into a future tomorrow on the cusp of it, within a couple of years of it, of being a completely new human species. It's astonishing, and I'm not crazy. I'm telling you, this is based on research. This is why people are focusing on Bitcoin and NFT, the elites. You know, I think it's Tolstoy who said rich families are different from poor families. Poor families are all the same rich families, or something like that. He opened his book Anna Karenina with this line about rich people and poor people. Poor people, not when I say poor people, I mean average people, middle class and all that. They just flow, they just exist, they just go with the time. The ones who make the difference, the ones who alter the future, the ones who design the life of human beings on the face of the earth, they are now organizing themselves. There's an organization called the Elders. It's just yesterday celebrated their 15th anniversary, where Mandela and Desmond Tutu and all a lot of visionary, progressive, former leaders of Scandinavian countries became members of this organization. They're steering humanity in a certain way. And the goal of them all is to augment human intellect. How do we raise the human being to be the best that we are created to be? rather than to live just existing, just surviving, complaining every day, having to wake up and do affirmations and meditate and yoga and all kinds of craziness. Instead of that, they're merging the global internet with the human biology. And you know what we can get out of that? What the Bible predicted. The knowledge age, the technology age, and the digital age. But the more important thing is the knowledge age, where the human being, the average person, is augmented in his or her intellect as literally the most advanced life form in the universe. Now Elon Musk is releasing this thing this year. Apple is releasing their AG glasses, AR glasses, augmented reality glasses this year. Microsoft is getting into the metaverse and releasing it this year, same as Facebook and Zuckerberg. A lot is going on, and behind the scenes, we go behind the scenes, we see what's going on, and we come and bring it to you. To bring your awareness and your consciousness to where we can make a difference. We can be part of that future in terms of riding the waves, not sinking and drowning in the being overwhelmed with it, because a lot of people are going to be left behind. This neural link, you will be able to embed it in your skull in the next couple of years. It's going to be available to the general population for as little as $2,000-$3,000. As much as it costs for a smartphone, you could put this thing in your head with a robot inserting it, so it's precise. And you become an augmented human being with the whole internet embedded in your very skeleton, your biology, your biological system. Now we're going to talk a lot about this over the next few days, over the next couple of weeks, as we educate, as we inform, as we edify, as we enlighten ourselves about the immediate future. This is not science fiction and 50 years from now or 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now. This is this decade, before 2030. This is the world we're living in. And so we want to really bring you up to speed with what we're finding out as futurists, researching the future, finding out what's going on, and bringing it to all those who will listen to us. We have a message, Remember, this company, if you watched our video before, we have a formula, our business formula is CMQ, creative message. You must have a message. And community media, we use the media of social media and this live streaming show. We're planning to roll it out to 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And really open up a media where we can have this kind of message on the media platform that can reach as many people as possible. And then we have cooperation with the people, right? Cooperative money, where everybody come together and we build our resources through cryptocurrency, through NFT. Because money will exist as we know it today, there's something else that is happening. The global economy is being reset. And we want the way the global economy today works on a transactional basis, where the means of exchange is fiat money, legal tender. It says legal tender on it, and that makes it legal because government sanctions it. We're moving away from that system, and we're moving into a system nowadays. To do transactions, you have to have a lot of trust. Somebody walks into a store and buys something and they pay with cash or their card, you're thinking the bank is, you're trusting the system, the banking system, that the card is working, everything is okay, the money is in the bank, the transaction is happening, because you don't see any of it, right? But even if somebody gives you cash, you're thinking, this is not counterfeit, this is real cash. People don't even check it anymore, and you're trusting the person, and the person is trusting you to the product that they gave you, even shipping through Amazon, that it's a good product, it's worth it. Well, the new system that is coming is not based on trust anymore. It's based on system, the blockchain system. Everything is verified within that blockchain. So it's not based on trust. Means of exchange is not based on trust anymore in this new system that is coming. It's simply based on technology. So we are replacing economics with technology. Now you can buy stuff with cryptocurrency all over the world. People are buying land, people are buying houses, people are buying wealth. People are exchanging their money. Snoop Dogg bought for $4 or $5 million virtual land, which is server space basically. So people are giving away their money, like throwing water away, to own digital technology stuff. Technology is replacing economy. We are moving into the age of technology, where technology runs the world, runs our life, and not economics. And it astonishes me that a lot of theological people who study theologians, don't know these things. Even the religion says it. The Bible says that. The Bible actually says that you won't be able to buy or sell unless you are hooked up to this technology. The future is all about technology, not economics. We're phasing out economics. If you're still thinking and planning, excuse me, to build a system on money, it won't work. It's all about technology. Look to the future. Think about the future. Embrace us. Let us research together. Let us work together. And let us author our own future. Not outside of the system, but with wisdom. Riding the system like you're riding a beast, a wild horse. But you direct that horse. You hold the rein. You author your future. You design your future. If you have the knowledge of what is coming. And that's what we do here today. So thank you for listening to me today. I appreciate it. We're back with our daily show. So it's going to be every day. 5 to 6 instead of 6 to 7 or 7 to 8. If you can make it 5 to 6, the show is recorded on our YouTube channel, but also Facebook page, Qualped, Millionaire Mindset, Future Stars, and The Design Life, 4 Facebook pages. And of course on our website, futurestarsmediaenterprise.com. Check it out, futurestarsmedia.com, I think it is what it is. I should put it on the screen. But see you tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll continue the conversation, right? Look into Neuralink if you haven't as yet. Check it out and let me know what you think. Send me messages, okay? Email. You can find us online. We're all over the internet. Thank you. Have a good evening, and see you guys again tomorrow.